Hello everybody, and welcome to an edition of Cooper Fantasy. I'm of course Cooper Fantasy. You can find me online at cooperfantasy.com, at Twitter at @blackie_Mike. Like and subscribe to my videos here on YouTube, 'cause that's awesome. And this is my Week 8 Sit-em Start-em video for the 2012-2013 fantasy football season. I'm a little bit busy tonight. I want to get this up pretty soon, so I'm going to try to run through this real quick, guys. And I got a lot of players on my list for some reason this week. Alright, at quarterback on my stardom side of the list, first off, Sam Bradford. There's only 4 teams in bye this week, and even fewer of them have good quarterbacks. But if you still, for some reason, find yourself needing a QB to plug in and play this week due to injury or whatever reason, Bradford just might be the guy. He's not a very consistent starter the last 2 years. And he tends to struggle without Danny Amendola. But against the Patriots, who give up tons of yards, no secret there. He's got a good chance at having an 18-point fantasy game, even higher. I'm looking at maybe 275 and a TD, maybe even a third TD in there somewhere if we get lucky. And then next up, Brandon Weeden might actually even be the better option here. He's looked really good lately. He's yet to have a 3 TD game, but this might be the week he does it. He's gone for 300 yards twice this season, 250 on 2 other occasions, and now he's got the Chargers, who so far this year have given up way more of their yardage defensively in the air. So look for Brandon Weeden, similar to Sam Bradford, to have like an 18 or plus point game, go for 250 to 300, maybe 2 to 3 touchdowns. And then running back, we got Willis McGahee against New Orleans. Any guy you got playing against New Orleans, you tend to want to play. Usually you think of wide receivers and the quarterbacks. But at running back, I think Willis McGahee is going to have a great chance to just gash major yards. He's a really big, strong running back. The Saints aren't known to be the greatest tacklers in the world. I think he's going to have a great chance to really gash them for some yardage here and there, even if he doesn't get a whole lot of carries. And he's got a great chance for a goal line carry as well. Reggie Bush versus the Jets, who have really struggled this year against the run. Reggie Bush and the Dolphins are coming off the bye. Apparently he's going to be fresh and good to go. He had a press conference today where he sounded very confident, wasn't too worried about the Jets. I think he's going to have a big game against them. I'm looking for at least 100 yards all-purpose, if not rushing alone, and then hopefully a touchdown to go with it. And then Vic Ballard versus Tennessee, Indiana running back Vic Ballard versus Tennessee. He was a bit of a disappointment in Week 6. He was okay in Week 7. I think he had about 80 yards, something like that. And in Week 8, I'm thinking he just continues to improve. He's got another good matchup against the Titans rush defense, who have been gashed all year. Most recently, it was C.J. Spiller and Fred Jackson. So I'm thinking with Donald Brown out once again, Vic Ballard's got a chance to just keep that upward trend going. On to wide receivers for Oakland, Darius Heyward-Bey. I haven't had the best luck when I'm picking my Raider players so far this year, but I'm going to try again here with Darius Heyward-Bey. Denarius Moore had a touchdown last week, and I'm kind of hoping that they kind of switch it up, and it's Darius Heyward-Bey this week. It's a good matchup against the Chiefs. We're giving up quite a bit of yards to opponents. They've given up 13 passing TDs, so Heyward-Bey definitely has a chance to cash in for a score. Brandon Stokely, I had this guy on my list 2 weeks ago. It came in pretty handy. He only had like 10 yards on the day, but he had a touchdown to go with it. And against the New Orleans defense, you gotta try to roll with him here and hope for 50, 60, 70 yards and a touchdown to go with it. And a couple of tight ends, Jason Witten and Dustin Keller both have good matchups. Jason Witten's going against the division rival Giants. He played them in Week 1, but he was coming off that spleen injury. He was used as a blocker primarily. And he's seeing more and more targets and more and more snaps as a receiver each week. And I'm thinking against the Giants, who've been pretty giving in the air, that you're going to see some pretty good production of Jason Witten in this one. And then Dustin Keller versus Miami is coming off a big week last week, and Miami gives up a lot of their yardage in the air as compared to on the ground, where they've been pretty stingy this year. So we're looking for a tight end to pick up, and he's still available. You need someone to start. Dustin Keller is definitely the guy for this week, and even moving forward. All right, guys, we're halfway there. Move on to the sit-em side of things. Matt Stafford, kind of no surprises here. He's been a really big disappointment throughout the season. I don't think he's had a 3-touchdown game. I could be wrong there. I thought he was going to be money in the bank, him and Calvin this year, but they've both really been disappointing at times. And against the Seahawks defense this weekend, he is at home, but I just don't like his chances to improve upon the numbers he's been putting up so far this season. If you're looking for a breakout game, you might want to wait for one more week. And then Jay Cutler versus Carolina. Jay Cutler coming off that massive hit from Ndamukong Suh. He hasn't really had any great games to speak of this season, and I think against the Carolina rush defense, it's going to be a lot of Matt Forte and even some Mike Bush in there. So I'm not really seeing Jay Cutler go for any more than maybe 200, 250 yards and 1 touchdown. And then running back, Sean Green versus Miami. I have to do this one again. I'm a Dolphins fan. You can see it in my shirt, jersey behind me. Miami Dolphins have a great run defense, and I just plain think Sean Green sucks. And then Michael LaShore is a back-to-back candidate. He was on the list last week. Actually had an 8-point effort. Not the greatest, but not terrible. But if you're looking for him to improve upon that 8-point effort, I'm thinking his chances are kind of slim going against the Seattle defense as well as Stafford. They're going to be a tough game for these guys. And then Doug Martin versus Minnesota. Minnesota has been a bit softer against the run as compared to the first 4 weeks. They were dynamite. Since then, they've been a bit softer against the run. But I think Doug Martin is going to have a tough time against them. The Garrett Blount sucked last week, but you still may see him for a little bit. And I think it's going to be a bit more Josh Freeman, who's coming off a huge game, than it is going to be Doug Martin in this matchup. And then Kenny Britt. I was really hoping Kenny Britt would be a bigger factor much sooner in the season even. He's only got 1 touchdown, maybe close to 200 yards, something around there. The Titans get a soft rush defense again this week in the Colts, so I think it's going to be more of a Chris Johnson trying to break out of his funk. He obviously did it last week with his massive, almost 200-yard day, but I think they're going to try to roll with him, keep his momentum going against another soft run defense, and Kenny Britt's opportunities are going to be limited, so he's definitely a guy you might want to consider sitting. And then Deshaun Jackson for Atlanta, a guy I have on my list quite a bit because he has lame weeks all the time. I'm usually able to pick when they are. And against Atlanta, who's only given up on average about 1 touchdown per game, I don't like Deshaun's odds of being that guy to catch it. I'd rather play Jeremy Maclin, who I'm still not actually loving this week. And then Andre Roberts for San Fran. He kind of reminded people last week why they went and grabbed him off the waiver wire about 3-4 weeks ago when he had his big 2-touchdown game. Some people probably gave up on him, and now they're probably thinking, I got to go get this guy again. But if you have picked him back up or you're looking to plug him back in your lineup because of last week, you might want to skip on that because he's playing San Fran. And we all know what San Fran's all about. They've only allowed 6 passing touchdowns all season, just like the Atlanta Falcons, and they're allowing a league low 173 pass yards per game. So yeah, Andre Roberts, look elsewhere this week. And guys, that is it for my Week 8 sit-em start-em picks. I hope they served you well. It was a rough week last week, but you never know. Every week's different. I hope this stuff does well for you. You can find me online as before, KoopaFantasy.com. That's KOOPA Fantasy.com. Ask me anything you want on Twitter. I love new followers. I love getting into arguments, discussions, stuff like that on there. So hit me up on Twitter @Blackie_Mike. And lastly, like and subscribe my videos because that does wonders for me, guys. It's a great help. And that's about it. Koopa Fantasy signing off. Peace.